Hello, here is the Hard Heads and Clear Minds. Today I invited Eirik, who already participated in the Power Awakening podcast. But Eirik also involved in a lot of things that are relevant to the industrial environment. So today we will talk about the burnout, the team leaders at projects, which is very important to understand what is the difference between the Cowboy team leaders and the conscious team leaders. We will talk about supervisors, site managers, what they can do to make the work environment better and safer, and connecting teams before starting a new project. And in the 2 episodes that we will record, you will hear about these topics. So, Eirik, can you please introduce yourself to the listeners or those who's watching the podcast?
Yes, I may. Eirik Skarholt is my name. I have a 25-year-long experience of working with people. So I started off as a chiropractor and worked with patients, trying to help them with their problems, with their pains, with their lifestyles, and with their stress levels. And then I took a lot of coaching certifications within leaderships, within sales, and I started working with a lot of corporations because what I saw as a chiropractor was that if people had pain from a psychological level or an emotional level or from a lifestyle level, if you took care of those 3 aspects, they wouldn't have physical pain. So basically, then I'm a person who I like to see the best results, not just the average results. So I focused more on the psychological, the emotional, and the lifestyle arenas in order to help people. And therefore, I transitioned into more coaching style. So I transitioned into working with sales teams, with leadership and executive teams. And I've been involved in many different settings in the corporate world. Yeah.
And basically what you said about what you noticed with your clients, these topics are basically the part of the burnout.
Oh yes, I see a lot of people with burnout, and they come younger and younger. Currently, I'm working on a person. He's 28. I'm working on another one. He's 32. Last year. I had the youngest one I had, she was actually a HR leader in a company, and she was 23 years old, and she was already burnt out. The McKinsey had a report that said that 80% of founders or leaders in companies reach a burnout within 5 years. 80% within 5 years. So burnout is a big thing. Yes.
And what leads to it for those who's not really aware?
I think we look at we look at people, we look at humans as resources rather than humans. So we're looking at how much can they produce, how well can they produce it, what's the quality of the production, how's the efficiency, and how well can they work with others. And I think that is a very extractive point of view, and which eventually leads to bad culture, leads to burnout, leads to mistakes, and leads to poor results in the long term.
Actually, I think, 30 years old when I had my burnout.
There we go.
And
I was 37.
Then can you talk about yours?
Like, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Why did you go until the end, which is the burnout?
Yep.
Did you notice that before, or how did you handle this situation?
So my burnout came when I was working in an environment where it was constantly stress. So it was a startup. There was constantly stress. It was constantly a problem to be solved. It was constantly I'm not sure we're going to get paid the next 3 months or the next 6 months. And that just created so much stress in my environment. And I feed on stress. So if I get stressed, I work harder, and I think a lot of people do. When we feel that we need to survive, we will work harder in order to survive. And therefore we push ourselves so much that we don't see all the yellow flags and all the orange flags, and then suddenly the red flags come and we don't see them, and that's when you're in trouble. Because your nervous system is just exhausted, your endocrine system is exhausted, your whole hormonal system gets exhausted on that journey to become burnout. And a huge problem in the world right now is that we have your adrenals. So on top of your kidneys, you have the adrenals. And when you're under stress, or if you need to perform, or if you need to do something really quickly, they will release stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. And in the West right now, we're having a huge adrenal problems. Testosterone is going down, and adrenals is one of the most important key factors to produce testosterone. So we see a decline in testosterone in the West, and we see more exhaustion, more burnout, more chronic disease, more lifestyle problems, etc., etc., etc. And I think that is because of this adrenal problem, this constant, we need to go faster, go harder, make better results, etc., etc. And I think we can achieve the same good results with a different way of leading, with a different way of taking care of our employees and looking after them in a way that they will produce the same results, but it's more sustainable.
And what was the way out for you? So you went all the way there,
Yeah.
and then how did you manage to get up? What did you change?
First of all, I resigned from that place that I was working to take the source. The environment was producing a version of me that got burnt out. So I just decided to take away the primary source, even though it was my own fault. It's not the company's fault. I chose to be in that culture. But I chose to remove the source. That was the first important step. And the next important step was to go to the doctor and explain my situation. And he put me on a sick leave. And he said, you need to stay away from everything that has to do with screens and TVs and working, etc., for at least 4 weeks, and then we'll see. And that ended up becoming 6 months. In the first 2-3 months, I took a lot of time off. I went to the sauna. I had a psychologist I spoke to, who's actually a coach, but she's also a psychologist. I did a lot of breath work. I did a lot of yoga, the really calm version of yoga, yin yoga. It's very you rest while you're doing yoga. It's not an exercise. It's more of a active resting. I meditated a lot, and I went a lot of walks in nature. Yeah, and that after 3 months, I felt strong and I felt fine to go back into these environments. And then I tested it for 2 weeks and said, no, my nervous system was just really tired. So all the symptoms came back after 1 to 2 weeks, and that ended up becoming 6 months in total. Yeah.
It sounds like the environment that you described is basically like a start of a project, a large-scale project.
Yes.
Where team leaders, site managers just have everything now. You have to perform now.
Yes.
And then sometimes procedures are not in place, tools are not in place, parts not in place.
Yes.
We have new people, don't know each other, is a stress factor. New task to be done is a stress factor. and everything combined is just stress at work. So companies can lose basically the top performers, because you said those who are in leading position, they get the stress, they just deal with it, they just push themselves to the limit. But if they don't have the right techniques to come back to their power, to do basically the opposite thing, it's a high stress, then I need the opposite after work or without work when I'm outside of the work hours. So most of the people I know from other projects, basically they went home and eat and sleep, watch TV or something. But I had rarely site managers, supervisors who basically did some sport activity after work or meditate. It was not much I could recall. So then the companies should basically introduce quite a lot of method if they want to keep top performers, because the technical part of the project is for the project managers. They have to deal with that. They have to do the lesson learned. But until all the companies get there, they have to give the tools for people, because otherwise they can just hope that they can just push themselves until the limit and just finish the project before they end up with a burnout.
And I think also it's what I hear from a lot of top performers in business is that if they don't respect the leader, they don't want to be there. So it's like having a big company is like having a big tribe, okay? And inside a tribe you have different parts. Like these are the people who go and hunt. These are the people in the tribe that prepare the food. These are the people that are the warriors. These are the people who build the fences. You know, you have different skill sets. You know, and I think if we look at a company as a tribe, you would want to look after everybody in the tribe because everybody is dependent on each other to survive. And I think we've taken out a lot of the human empathy in a corporation. You know, if you go to a village, or if you go to a village far away somewhere up in the mountains in I don't know, maybe in Switzerland, for example, or maybe a better in one of the eastern countries, up in the villages, up in the mountains, you know, they have this community of looking after each other, and that's how civilizations were built in the first place. I think we've lost a lot of this empathy, and that empathy creates trust. And also what McKinsey and also World Economic Forum has said is that after COVID, the empathy amongst leaders in the Western world, in the companies, have fallen with up until 22% since COVID. And that is a very bad development. You know, we don't need less trust and empathy. We need more trust and empathy in these times we are living, especially in the workplace, and especially where in the workplaces you are surrounded with, because there's a lot of danger involved.
At on the previous projects, since I work in the energy industry more than a decade, and it's getting close to the 2 decades, it's very funny. But in this environment, I had no team building. I always went to a new project. I was hired by a company who sent me to the new project. And then basically everybody survives somehow, fit in somehow or not. Because I was working in oil and gas in the beginning. I was at some places where I was the only one who was not drinking alcohol after work. And everybody else got very drunk after work every single day.
Yes.
And I couldn't fit in because I said I will not join because I will be outside of this circle. So if I will be outside of this circle, let it be. So I left this company in 9 months. I have to work there because of the money, but I was just not in the team,
Yep.
and I not integrated in the team.
Yeah.
So many projects, large scale projects, building any buildings, factories, completing any job that is a temporary work involves so many subcontractors, but there is lack of team leading or insufficient team building, and then everybody expects from the management to get the job done fast, in good quality, safe, and then they have all kinds of safety programs to talk about why the gloves is important, why it's important to report, but the human aspect is just missing.
Yeah.
We didn't even connect anyone to anyone. We didn't ask who are you, where are you from, what is your experience, and it's just everywhere. And just seeing it also with my perspective now, since I'm also deeply involved in all the human works and the technical works and the management works. It just feels unreal. Like we say, the businesses development a lot, and yeah, maybe some of them developed a lot technically, but interestingly, the human perspective is not really developed too much.
Yes.
We are happy that we are talk about mental health at work sometimes, but I was at a project where the client asked me not to talk about that today because we have to go out and work, and we just had a suicide within the company, and I said sorry, but it just happened within the company with a technician. I will not. I will just have to talk about this because who knows how these guys are. I have to talk about this, and nobody will talk about it if I'm not here. So at some places they even focus on production, get things done. So it's quite interesting that we work with humans, but we just forget to take care of them and connect them, and we expect them to just function.
Yes, it's very strange. It's very, very strange. And the reason I believe it's very, very strange is because it's proven now that the companies with empathic leadership have better results, less failures, and more safety. So luckily, there is enough research out there that shows that empathetic leadership creates better results, more safety, and more trust. So it's just for more and more industries to catch up, and it sounds like the industry that you're talking about and referencing is still hasn't caught up to where they need to be. There's a lot of potential for the work that you do.
Exactly, that's what I also felt, because when I just focus on the human perspective and talk with people, connect with people, just ask them, who are you, where are you from, what is in your life, what do you bring here, I'm curious. Then basically they trust in me, and then they come to my office instead of the leader's office.
Yes, and they relax as well.
Yeah.
And when they relax, they make less mistakes. And when they relax, they feel more seen, and then they will produce more. To me, it's math. It's like 1 + 1 is 2.
We see it simply,
Yep.
but for this, what I noticed, the leaders have to understand what we are talking about. So how can we make this empathic leadership, how can we make the leaders better? Because from my experience, when I was 25, I was in Scotland. I was working with one of the best team leader ever. He was talking to everyone, he was focusing everyone, he wanted to understand how much you know, how much I have to teach you. And he was just very relaxed. He showed everything 2 times, 3 times if needed, and then everything was fine. And then he kept his car completely clean every day. He went home, cleaned the car, kept the tools in good order, and everything was just perfect in that team. And I was so happy that finally I have someone that I can look up to. And after that I was also a team leader, and I brought this experience into my practice. But I don't have too much examples, unfortunately, because the rest of them was people who finished work, went home, got drunk at the weekend, get drunk, having a hangover, starting again. So it's just something, of course, at work, safety was secondary, production was first. So this we call the cowboy leaders.
Yeah.
Get the job done. I don't care how. Push people to get it done. And then safety culture, yeah, we have it, but the managers want me to get the job done. So I just push everybody to get the job done. But I was working with this team leader I mentioned. Everything was done, and everything was in perfect quality. And he just had a different approach because he was an empathic leader. He was an organized leader. He was more healthy, masculine in the team, and he was influencing everybody. So why is it important to invest in coaching of leaders to get there, to basically have their own experience about this, and then understand that they have 5 to 10 to 15, 20 people they can influence also positively, and of course keep them in safe, still manage to deliver what is expected.
I think the solution is very simple, and it's basically, it needs to be put on the agenda at the top level. So the people who run the company needs to realize that trust, empathy, being a nice guy is actually the leadership of the future. And being a nice guy doesn't mean that you're supposed to be nice all the time, you know, but it means that your social skills of making people feel good and empowered is present. That needs to be number one quality in a team manager. And then secondly, you need to make exercise mandatory in the company. If you're going to work here, you're going to have to exercise. And you can't make things mandatory, but you can create reward systems, and you can create a culture around exercising. Basically, one company that I know, they have exercising as a value within their company. And the company pays from the gym membership for the employees. So that's another one. And then the most important one, but it's not most important because you need to have the team manager going forward as a role model. You need to have exercise because exercise increases your health. Exercises increases your focus. Exercises increases your resilience. Exercise increases X, Y, Z. I can just keep going on forever. Exercise is the key. And then the third part is to set off at least once a week, 1 hour with the team and having trust conversations. Basically 1 hour, which is designated to basically sit down and say, how is your life going, my friend? In groups of 5 or groups of 4 or groups of 7. How is your life going? What do you struggle with in your family life right now? Talk about, have conversations at work. You're spending 8 hours at work. You need to spend time at work addressing what's going on at home because you're more at work than you are at home. If it would be the opposite, it would be a different scenario. But that's the case. If you want your people to work for 8 hours or 9 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours, you need to address their personal life at work. Otherwise, that guy is going to kill himself. And that's probably an extreme statement, but it's true. The reason he killed himself, he didn't have anyone to talk to. He didn't know how to talk about things. He didn't have the courage to speak up. He didn't have the social network at home to do it. Therefore, in my opinion, it needs to be put on the agenda at the highest level. And not because we need to care about the employees. That should be the reason, but in business, it's all about the profit. The thing is, once you've done this at all levels in your organizations, you'll make more money. It's very simple. You'll make more money, you have high retention rate on the talent will stay with you. And they will work for longer, less sick leave as well, less injuries. So to me, I'm very fiery about this. There's a lot of passion about this because it's very simple. It's very simple. It just needs to be put on the agenda, and it needs to be put in a system.
And at the moment, not at the moment, but since I'm in the energy industry, the leaders are the experienced technicians. So once you have X year of experience and you can execute the work, talk, communicate, okay, you have the feedback from you, this is good, you have already 3 years with this kind of machine, let's say, so okay, you know the job, you can teach the job. So you are the team leader from tomorrow. That's how it works in many cases. And then what it is just one thing, like appointing team leader who's not yet ready, for example, but maybe technically perfect, soft skills, not much, not he cannot even talk openly and asking these things, just to make the listeners also understand why these 1 hour discussions are important. Basically here people just practice how to do it, because if they don't practice how to talk openly, how to connect, then how can we expect he will connect to the unknown Jose and Pavel in the team? And maybe he has also lots of filters, like okay, you have long hair or you have tattoos or whatever things are in the mind. So have a picture about the person, not asking, not talking, but just leading. So it is not a connected team, it's just a team that mechanically we put together, right?
Yeah, and just hope for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, that is also a good business model. You know, giving people short timelines, deadlines, putting them together, putting them fast together, a lot of insecurity, not sure if you're going to have the job the next week or the best team. Playing on fear is also a good business model, which has been going on for a long time. But the thing is, the other model is far more profitable and is far more profitable in the long term. So I think people need to, the companies need to at the end of the day, they will think about profit. And they really need to understand that if they change their culture systematically in their organization, they're going to stay profitable for eternity. This whole hustle and fear-based, and it is going to attract less people with the capacity to perform the work. So maybe they should all cross their fingers for AI to come in and do the whole thing with robotics. But I don't think we should go there. I think that's a longer... I don't think robots are going to replace us as soon as everybody is saying. I think that's the hype in the industry to sell more stocks.
Luckily where I work.
Like everything in business, you know, people are just talking big.
Yeah.
You know? They don't want to do the fucking real work, which this is.
And they don't know. Because that's the other thing I noticed. They just don't know what to do to make things better. Because it's inner work partly. Like those who have experience with inner work, they know the results. And those who meet with these people, they can see the results.
Yes. And I think that's one of the things as well, because you mentioned that they don't understand what a conscious leader is. To me, conscious leadership is about building trust. It's nothing spiritual. It's nothing airy-fairy. It's just about communication, high level of trust, and high level of safety. And then you have the right question within that, and you're good. It's nothing fancy-pantsy about it.
So for this, the leaders have to gain self-awareness, situational awareness during these exercises.
Yep.
And basically learning new skills to maintain their balance.
Yep.
So once they can maintain their balance, they are connected to themselves, they can talk, they can understand, they can listen.
Yes.
They can lead anyone.
Yes.
Because what is important at temporary works and projects, it's 90% of the project employees are subcontractors from everywhere.
Yes.
We are not there to influence all the small companies,
Yeah.
but we can invest into team leaders,
Yes.
and then they can just get these guys, put them in place, connect, and make them work.
Yes.
And these leaders will feel good at the company, as you said,
Yes.
so they will probably really value this work the companies put into them.
Yes.
And then the result will be also visible on their personal lives, because they can connect to their friends, they can maybe find new groups to connect to who fits better now with the new view they gained. And then they can just be a more happy and balanced human. So when we are talking about leadership and getting projects done, it's important to think about how can we support these humans, because it's not enough if we just have a gym on the SOV, on the service operation vessel. Those guys who will go, the rest of them will sit in the sofa and scroll. And if you don't have a leader who will invite them, who can influence them, like, hey, don't drink that sugary thing, and don't eat 5 donuts a morning and a cafe. Maybe it's not the best for you, because outside you will just have zero focus.
Yes.
So it's interestingly, until we don't have these conscious leaders, people just go with their own default program.
Yep.
And then, as you said, cross the fingers that everything will go fine.
The human operating system needs to be put in check, basically. And putting a lot of money into first line management is the best thing you can do. And these talks, having 60 minutes once a week, that will address this sugary foods, that will address the exercise, you know. And once you get people to talk themselves, they will get the trust in you, and then you become a better role model, and then they will start exercising. So it all fits in together well, and yeah.
But until we have the managers in place who just focus, get the job done, these things will not happen. We will just cross fingers and let's hope everybody will come back from work and they don't kill each other, which can easily happen basically if people are just not aware, if they are sleepy, sedated because of the lifestyle, because of hangover, because of anything that can influence their focus. So in the next episode we will continue maybe some parts of these team leading examples, then we go to the supervisor and site manager level, and then how to connect the teams before the project, which is very important. I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode, and click the next one. It will be very interesting. Thank you for this episode.
Thank you.
And see you soon. And like and subscribe, of course.